Then he looked at me, and for a second, everyone in the place disappeared. He was fine, but there was something else about him. You know, that's something that makes your head light and your stomach tight.
I think you're beautiful. No, I really do. I want to be with you, and I don't care what anybody says.
Oh my God.
I have this thing about being sexy and where sex comes from. Either you have it or you don't. And it's nothing you can put on. It has to come from inside. And when it comes from inside, it comes from inside. It's nothing that you can put on. You can't try to be sexy. You know, if you try to be sexy, then you're overdoing it. You know, and you try to put on things that'll make you sexy. If you're sexy, it comes through automatically, naturally.
Look at that. Look at it. She is fine.
This is what fine used to be. It used to be more than just a look. It used to be more than just a fad or a trend or a hairstyle or a certain way to wear your clothing. It used to be an entire experience, a feeling, a memory, a moment in time where our species could recognize the beauty in the flaws of an individual, admire the commitment in the preparation of appearance, be present in the moment to admire the perfection in the imperfections of our subjective beauty standard. Fine used to mean taking a step back and being in awe of someone's carefully crafted aesthetic, whether that be the temptative, elusive bad boy, or the charismatic, out of reach pop star, or the seductive and alluring foreigner, or the friendly and charming next door neighbor. Fine was a word only reserved for people who give off a, dare I say, aura about them. It was more than just the appearance itself, but everything around the very person, the way they walked, the way they talked, their mannerisms, their vocabulary, their skills, interests, just about anything and everything that makes them the person that they are. All in all, fine used to mean something. It used to be something. And now it's this. This is what our beauty standard is today. Our lust, our fixation has completely transformed into the extraordinary in just a few decades. A lot has remained the same, having clear skin, nice teeth, smelling good, and a few other features here and there. But what has truly been lost over time, diluted to the point of no return, is that feeling you used to get being around or witnessing such fineness.
As an actress, if I have to deal with a sort of sexy, it is all about really creating that energy within you and then letting it ooze out, kind of, you know, and that is sexy to me. It can be fairly breathtaking.
It's no longer a feeling, just more of an appreciation or admiration for someone's oddly specific bodily feature. The big butt, the hourglass shape, the Kylie lips, the 6% body fat, the Herculean-like arms. Our definition of fine has gone from a deep allure of all of the right factors into who can make their ass clap over an overused trap beat? Whose jawline can I grate my cheese on? Whose body most resembles my childhood cartoon crush character? And in pursuit of chasing today's version, today's standard of what fine is, we have begun damaging our bodies, damaging our reputation, damaging our very souls in a race to become fine that never seems to have a finish line. And in that race, in that pursuit, in chasing to reach that void that grows deeper and deeper, we have begun to lose ourselves and forgetting to remember what the original goal of this was even in the first place. Over time, it slowly begins to transition from keeping up with the Joneses to how can I get ahead? What is the latest fixation that I could begin doing that my counterparts aren't? Our pursuit has become realized. It has become studied, marketed, capitalized into something that me and you can barely recognize what it used to be. I know we got a little bit carried away, so let's just step back and analyze everything really. The actual word fine is merely just a somewhat recent slang term that encompasses beauty, mannerism, self-preservation, and expression with a dash of African-American culturing. So for me, I wanted to unpack something more recent and relatable to all of us while entering an era that yourself, more likely your grandparents are more generally familiar with. And for that, I must briefly enter the Roaring Age, that age beginning in the year of 1960.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome. It's a remarkable time to be alive as we step boldly into a new decade, the 1960s. A time of change, innovation, and possibility is unfolding before our very eyes.
It's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
The 1960s were a special time in America, to say the least. It was a decade filled with war after war, assassination after assassination, but arguably as important, it was a decade of spectacle, a decade of revolution, a decade of finding your voice, finding yourself, and sticking up for what you believed in, no matter how ethical, debatable, or raunchy it was. You most importantly had the civil rights movement that gave way for many prominent Black voices in not just politics, but in media representation and cultural expression. Feminism became more and more popular as women strived to become more than just the standard housewife. Counterculturalism led to the rejection of the typical Western ideals, which would then lead in favor of the frowned upon acts such as taking drugs like LSD and marijuana becoming way more socially acceptable. Sexual revolution and liberation led to, well, you know what that led to. The Chicano movement, gay rights, self-expression had never been so expressed before. And with a newfound self-expression came with an entirely new way in which we dressed and how we decided to present ourselves in the public eye. For men, it was slim-fitting suits and skinny ties, similar to that of Sean Connery in the iconic James Bond films. Polos and khakis became America's favorite casual style with the side part to match. Women began revolting against the conservatism that had become associated with the patriarchy, ditching gowns for mini skirts and bikinis, all while adopting the single and working girl mindset. Sprinkle in a little hippie culture here, some of the most influential artists there, a little communism scare throughout the years, and by the end of the decade, you had an entire generation completely transformed and inspired like none that came before it. And it would be this generation's ideals, this generation's challenges and triumphs, which would give birth to the parents and some of you guys grandparents to the age that you and me are more familiar with. Going back to the civil rights movement, after its conclusion and subsequent passing of the Civil Rights Act, the Voting Rights Act, and the end of Jim Crow, Black representation, expression, and influence in media grew exponentially. And as society grew more connected with more and more forms of communication, more and more African Americans gained prominence in America through music, through television, through athletics, and with that prominence gave room for a whole new set of styles and trends that laid the foundation of the culture today. Blues and jazz gave way to R&B and rap. Afro, dreadlocks, and jerry curls became all the rave. Dancing and its lengthy history continued to evolve year after year after year. Art and literature and its meaning and roots further deepened with each passing generation. And with that consistent growth and that continuous evolution of Black art and expansion would normalize itself in society and would become far more acceptable and more well represented to the general population. And I mention all of this to provide context to where the ideas of 90s fine really came from, because it plants the seed to what fine really entailed and some key figures who will have the label of fine attached to them forever during this era. When I most think of the word fine, I automatically think 90s R&Bs and classical hood movies and certain stylistic trends that just gave certain celebrities aura with how iconic it was remembered for being. It was a period of simplicity, confidence, swagger, and a flair that always just felt like super effortless. And in today's try hard, fake it till you make it, rage bait content, going back through to see some of these stars in action and to see the charisma and charm they carry truly offers a breath of fresh air. My mind automatically goes to women like Aaliyah, the Knowles sisters, you know, before the whole like Illuminati stuff and everything, Janet Jackson, Brandy, Tatiana Ali, Gabrielle Union. I mean, the list of 90s fine women is truly, truly endless. Hood movies to watch in which the man made me feel extremely self-conscious, such as Morris Chestnut in Boys in the Hood, any Wayans movies really in the 90s, Omar Epps, Denzel Washington. Eventually I would get super into the early 90s music and the 2000s rap music and the gang politics that came along with it, and I became super infatuated with the energies and the characters that were your Tupac Shakurs, your Method Mans with Wu-Tang, the NWAs, the Nas's and the 50 Cents of the world, Dr. Dre, Mobb Deep, the hand signs and the colors and the slang and the lingo of this hood and this block and this side. Everything just felt so raw, so real, and so genuine without ever feeling forced or choreographed. And seeing how those personas, both man and woman, carried themselves was something that I always wanted to emulate as an adult. To be naturally sexy, yet still be true to your core, carrying a deep passion for whatever it is you chose to care about and making it into somewhat of a brand for yourself. Having your own sense of style, your own version of charisma, and wrapping all of that up into this intoxicating, successful, and alluring presence with a mantra that is just reserved for you. But just being myself, keeping up with my appearance, and adopting more recently popularized trends, it's not good enough anymore. And entering the 2000s and 2010s is when this shift from naturality to superficiality, in my opinion, truly began. I can vividly remember as a kid in the 2000s seeing an endless array of commercials promoting low fat, low carb, low calorie food that it genuinely made my head spin. The propaganda, repetitive promotion of pills and teas and diets and other rhetoric that would air on morning shows such as the Oprah Winfrey Show or so-called doctors like Dr. Phil and Dr. Oz was pretty freaking rampant at the time and became so universal that even kids like me at the time were going on diets. And if you go back and actually listen to some of the advice or some of the segments that they would air on these shows, I'm surprised that someone decided to greenlight it at that time.
Oh, one, what supplement is the most beneficial to aid in losing weight? You know, if you want to really lose weight, sleep more. Seriously. For real? Yeah, for real. Because most people gain weight because your brain wants four things. They want sex, sleep, water, and food. You guys figure out sex yourself. Never sleep. Right? If you don't sleep, you're going to crave food. Not any food, you crave carbohydrates. Right? That's what I would focus on. And plus, when you're sleeping, you can't eat. It really works.
It is published by my son Jay's company. Is based on the concept of interval eating. Tell me what you mean by that specifically.
So this is based on actually Nobel Prize winning discovery that if you know how to eat in certain time intervals, you will on a daily basis preferentially break down your fat in a very rapid way, and you will send your body physiologically into an anti-aging state known as autophagy, where your cells go into a state where they rapidly renew themselves, they break down toxins, and during this diet, your skin will tighten, your hair will be better, and your focus will be better.
Drop diet. The Staff and Drop diet. This is my easiest plan ever. The idea here is you stop eating the unhealthy versions of any food you like, and you can drop up to 5 pounds in 5 days. Now, the harder the...
And this craze to become lighter, to become slimmer, to erase imaginary body fat led to the medical industry also finding ways to turn everyone into their favorite anorexic Barbie doll. Liposuctions, fat removers, tummy tucks, anything under the sun all became super mainstream. Tabloid culture and magazines and shows such as America's Next Top Model promoted super unrealistic and extremely unhealthy beauty standards where every woman was chasing to be a size 0 and below, and having an eating disorder was just a normal part of life.
I don't consider myself bulimic because I don't throw up after everything I eat. But just people are like, oh my god, Cassie is bulimic here, she's throwing up. I can't even remember the last time I threw up.
Even if you did or when you go home or whatever, is this bad on your health?
Yeah, I have an obsession with my weight. That's the problem. I'm not bulimic.
Cassie.
She's got a cute young look. She might be a little bit, she's not exactly size 2.
I think that your thighs are a little big for this dress. I'm going to have you walk in it with the zipper open. I think the biggest concern with Cassie for me was the size of her hip.
Bodily image and status became held in higher regard than the person or their beliefs, leading to people going out of their way to try to keep up with the trends no matter how ridiculous or how damaging they came to be. Fuck self-expression. Everyone was just trying to look like society's golden child, whether that be the gauntly and rail slim straight-haired celebrity or living up to the fame and achievements of your predecessors. The word fine could have easily been replaced with mirror, with how everyone seemed to be trying to emulate the same exact person. Culture became replaced with edginess, natural was replaced with cosmetics, and expression was replaced with imitation. all of which gave credence and led to the birth of our current era, the 2020s. Now, for the most part, most of us are pretty aware of the social climate we are in now, you know, impending World War III, political wokeness, capitalistic greed, and so on and so forth. But the general perception on today's beauty standards and what's considered attractive is honestly very intriguing and extremely contradictory and confusing. On one hand, you have people becoming more accepting of a wide range of looks, body types, and backgrounds, social media connecting people globally, and having more information about our health than probably any other time in society. But at the same time, to be considered fine has reached a new means of extreme that is borderline archaic, as it has turned an average looking person into walking, talking gremlins that attempt to defy the laws of nature and physics just to obtain them. I'm not even talking about getting your tatas done or having a BBL. I live not insanely far from Miami, and I pretty much see those on a daily basis to not even be fazed by its regularity. But this obsessive chase to look like celebrities or to look like Kim Kardashian or someone, I don't know who people talk about now, Sydney Sweeney, right? Something like that. Or to have muscles bigger than freaking Ronnie Coleman, or to attempt to reverse Mother Nature by injecting peptides into our faces to appear younger, or bone smashing to, God forgive me, outmog someone. You see, the thing is about the 90s, or hell, even the 60s for that matter, is that fine was more than just an appearance, but was something that actually took into account the entirety of your person. As I alluded to earlier, it was someone's complete package, and not just how they looked, but also how they operated and how they carried themselves. And in today's superficial climate where most things are manufactured and carefully crafted, I think that's why so many people are revisiting this era and are mesmerized by certain actors' presence in movies, or how pop stars exuded such climatic stage presence, or how seductive R&B music videos used to be.
I don't know how to exactly explain it, but a man could look good. He could look good, clean, sexy, well put together, handsome. But that 90s spine, if a girl compliments you and say you that 90s spine, like,
because when the fellas talk about how back in the day was sweet, this is what we talking about right here. This fine shit right here, all right? Look at the Timbs. Look at the dungarees. You understand? The baggy dungarees. Look at the polo. Look how she's standing on some b-boy shit. This was the face card tomboy. And this girl was breaking all the hearts back in the day. Look at the hairstyle. See, back in the day, all we had to judge on was from hair to hair. Alright? Face and personality. That's all it's.
It was organic, unrehearsed, and again, natural. And today's fine is like a ever-shifting goalpost that now eludes like 99% of the population. While social media has made connecting with people so instantaneous and easier than it ever has been ever before, it has completely reset the beauty standard into this unhealthy, unattainable thing that just subconsciously exists within our psyche. Everyone is getting work done to look a certain way, editing their photos to hide or enhance their feature. Your level of attractiveness has also begun dealing with less of how you look and more of what you appear to offer, how much money you have, how much clout you have, how much followers you have. This dilution of attraction in today's society is evident in pretty much every study of the past few years. We as a society are becoming dubbed the lonely age due to how we have begun having the least amount of sex in recent memory, the least amount of dates, the least amount of marriages, the least amount of kids. While a lot of this can be attributed to the financial state of the world, most of it has to do with how our connectedness is making us more separated than ever. We don't have to venture out to see the world around us anymore. We can just open up TikTok and view it vicariously through some other influencer. We don't have to settle for guys or girls in our area. I mean, why date someone who goes to my university when I have access and the ability to see thousands of people who look way better and check off all of my fantasy boxes? Why aim to just be in shape when the enhancement used by others blow me out the water? And the cycle just continues on and on and on. What was once the average is now ugly. What was once attractive is now average. What was once a once in a million is now the normal version of attractiveness. And fine, Well, fine is become something seemingly only reserved for the absolute anomaly, for the once in a generation type person, with it being more unobtainable than ever before, really. People have become surprised if someone is actually natural because getting some kind of enhancement, some sort of cosmetic procedure has become the norm. And to what end? People are out here taking meth, breaking their legs to become taller, risking their lives to make their butt look all that much bigger, tattooing freckles and eyebrows, using their thumbs to pull their teeth forward. There's probably so much more that I missed out on, but it's just, I can't keep up. It's getting crazy out here. My point is that the extremities in which we are willing to go to reach new levels of beauty are seemingly never ending, and the standard at which society sets beauty at continues to raise itself for no apparent reason other than just human greed. Look, I'm all for maximizing your looks, and I'm not even against going under the knife at all, but when people start looking like Jigsaw and Meat Canyon characters with the DLSS filter turned on, it is kind of where I draw the line. And as long as we continue to find new ways to fuck up our bodies and continue to raise these standards to unrealistic proportions, we will continue to hold these eras such as the 90s or the 60s or whatever the case is hostage with such nostalgia as truly being the last generations to truly recognize what fine really means.